In the Buddha's time, while the Buddha was residing at the Chetavana temple near Savatthi, Anathapindika brought 500 of his friends to see him. These 500 friends were disciples of other schools, but were happy to follow Anathapindika to go see the Buddha. The Buddha gave a glorious sermon. After hearing the Buddha's discourse, the 500 friends took the Buddha as their refuge. After that, they often went to visit the Buddha. At one point, the Buddha went back to Rajagaha. As soon as the Buddha had gone, the 500 friends of Anathapindika lost their faith and returned to other doctrines as their refuge. After 7 or 8 months, the Buddha returned to the Chetavana temple. Once again, so did Anathapindika's 500 friends. Anathapindika told the Buddha about his friends' actions after the Buddha had left for Rajagaha. When the Buddha asked them about it, they were ashamed of their actions. There is nothing in the world that compares to a Buddha. Of all beings in existence, none can compare to a Buddha. Of all the riches in the world, none are worth a fraction of a Buddha. No disciple, male or female, who seeks refuge in the Triple Gem, who seeks refuge in the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, are ever reborn in hell or similar states of suffering. Instead, when they die, they are reborn into the Dewa world and receive great glory. Therefore, by forsaking such a refuge for that offered by other doctrines, you have gone astray. In the past, men who took refuge in unreliable things fell prey to goblins in the wilderness and were utterly destroyed, while men who took refuge in truth prospered. Contemplation on the Buddha, contemplation on the Dhamma, and contemplation on the Sangha will lead one to various stages of enlightenment, which is the path to total liberation. Anathapindika praised the Buddha for his words, and then begged him to reveal the story of the past. The Buddha then proceeded to tell this story. A long time ago, when Brahmadatta was reigning in Benares, the Bodhisattva was born into a merchant's family. His family owned 500 carts, and the Bodhisattva used to travel across the wilderness to sell his wares. There was another merchant in Benares who also owned 500 carts. However, he was not very wise. One day, the Bodhisattva prepared his 500 wagons and was about to leave town. However, he found that the other merchant had also prepared 500 wagons and was about to head out at the same time. The Bodhisattva thought, "If we travel together, we will be traveling in a party of 1,000 carts. It will be too much for the road, and we will encounter hardship on the way back. It will be hard to get enough wood, water, and other things for all the men, or grass for the oxen. One of us must go first." The Bodhisattva then asked the other merchant, "We should not travel together. Would you like to go first or second?" The foolish merchant thought, "If I go first, I will get all the advantages. I shall travel on a road that is not torn up yet. My oxen will have their pick of grass. My men can pick all the herbs for our curry. The water will be undisturbed. Lastly, I can set whatever price I want for my items, and no one will know any better." He then responded, "I will go first." The Bodhisattva saw that there were advantages to going last. He thought, "He who goes first will have to level the road where it is rough, whereas I can travel on the road that is already traveled. Their oxen will have eaten old grass, whereas mine will eat new grass. My men will find fresh herbs where the old ones were already picked. Where there is no water, the first caravan will have already dug some up to supply themselves, and we can drink from their wells. Haggling over prices is tiresome work, whereas, since I am following later, I shall just sell my wares at the prices they were already set." Seeing all these advantages, he said, "Then you go first." The foolish merchant was very happy. He yoked his carts and set out. He prepared large jars of water on his carts, anticipating a long journey. After he had traveled 60 leagues, he entered an area that contained a yaka. The yaka saw the group of men and wanted to devour them. However, the yaka could not kill them when they were at full strength, so the yaka devised a plan. "We must make these men throw away their water, and then they will be weak." The yaka used his powers to conjure up an image of a grand white carriage drawn by pure white bulls. The group consisted of 12 yakas in human form, bearing bows and quivers and swords and shields. They all appeared to have wet clothes and wet hair. They were chewing on juicy stalks. They had lotus flowers and lilies in their hair and hands. The carriage wheels were wet and muddy. When the foolish merchant approached the yaka's carriage, they pulled to one side and greeted each other. "Greetings, traveler. You all have lotuses and water lilies on your head and in your hands. You are all wet, and your carriages are all muddy and dripping wet. Did it rain while on the road? Or did you come from somewhere with a lot of water?" The yaka pointed to where they had come and said, "Over from where we came, there's a thick forest and there's nothing but water all throughout. It is always raining there, and the pools are full. Every pool is filled with lotuses and water lilies." "That is amazing news. We're so lucky to be heading that way. We can rest and enjoy all the water." "I see you are carrying large jars of water in your carts. Why not just pour out the water now to make it easier on your oxen? You can just refill it when you get to the oasis." "Wow, you are right. That will save us time and energy. We are so lucky to have met you." The foolish merchant then had his men pour out all the water. They did not save even one drop. Then they continued on. As they went, they did not see any water source. There was no rain, no oasis. As they went on, they grew tired and dehydrated. At nightfall, they all sat down to make rice, but they had no water. Their oxen were exhausted, but had no water to drink. The men had no strength left and sat down, feeling defeated. In the middle of the night, the yaka came in and killed every one of the men and oxen and feasted on their meat. They ate all the flesh and left just the bare bones. The foolish merchant was the cause of the destruction of his entire group. The Bodhisattva waited 6 weeks to pass by before starting off his journey. He proceeded out of the city with his 500 carts and arrived at the edge of the wilderness. He had his men prepare an ample stock of water and food. He told them, "Let us all be careful. Do not use so much as a handful of water without my permission. There are poisonous trees in this wilderness. Do not eat or touch any of the vegetation and fruits without consulting with me first." After instructing his men, they headed out. Just as before, the Yaka saw the caravan and wanted to devour them. When the Yaka crossed paths with the Bodhisattva, the Yaka tried telling him the same thing he had told the foolish merchant. "Trust me, there is so much water over there, you wouldn't believe it. It rained every day. The herbs and fruits are abundant. You can eat as much as you want and it never runs out." However, the Bodhisattva was not easily tempted by promises of comfort and ease. While the Yaka was talking, the Bodhisattva looked past the words and instead focused on the feasibility of the story itself. The Bodhisattva put aside distracting thoughts and focused on the truth in the issue at hand. This person who seems to be wet and has come from a place that rained and is abundant with water is very suspicious. He has red eyes like a Yaka and casts no shadow. Only non-humans with immaterial bodies can be under the sun and not have a shadow. Also, for as far as the eye can see, the skies are clear and without any clouds. How could so much rain come from such clear skies? After the Yaka left, the Bodhisattva's men approached him and said, "Sir, we heard there is a lush forest filled with lotuses and water lilies. They said it was raining all the time. They said we should throw away our water and travel faster with lighter carts." Men, stop a moment and think. Put your desires and imagination aside. Look for truth, not for what you want to hear. We have traveled this path many times in the past, and have we ever heard of a lush forest with a pool or lake in this wilderness? No, sir. This is known as the waterless desert. They tell us it is raining ahead, but do you see any clouds? Did you hear any thunder? How far does the sound of thunder usually travel? We do not see any clouds. Also, we did not hear any thunder. Thunder can usually be heard from miles and miles away. Friends, those men were not truly men. They were Yakas. They were most likely hoping we would be foolish and abandon our supplies and become weak. Then, when we were at our weakest, they would devour us. Let us be hyper-vigilant and careful. We now know we have enemies waiting for their opportunity. I'm assuming the Yaka likely fooled the merchant who set off 6 weeks ago. It is possible we will find their remains ahead. Be vigilant, men. The group proceeded with caution. And just as the Bodhisattva had predicted, they came upon the remains of the previous caravan. The Bodhisattva had his men create a circle and had the oxen in the center. They kept watch all night. At daybreak, the men fed the oxen and got everything ready. They then discarded their weak carts for stronger ones and replaced their cheaper goods with higher value ones from the previous merchant. At their destination, the merchants sold all their wares and made a healthy profit and returned home without losing a single man out of the group. And so, the Buddha ended the story of the past. He said, "As you see, in those times, the greedy and fatuous men met their destruction. Those who valued truth escaped the hands of the Yaka and reached their goal in safety and made it back home in one piece with profit to show for it. When you abandon those who speak falsities and follow those who speak truth, not only will you experience less suffering, but you will also have an opportunity to obtain heavenly rebirths and enlightenment. Walking the path which is contrary to truth cannot lead to higher births, but will instead lead to lower births and hell. We choose which path to walk with our own discernment. We cannot follow two paths. You must choose which is the right path and follow that with vigor." In those days, the foolish merchant was Thewatat. His followers were the followers of that merchant. The followers of the Buddha were the followers of the wise merchant. And I was that wise merchant. What did you learn from this story? Let us know in the comments. We hope you enjoyed the video. Click like if you did, and click subscribe if you want to see our uploads. And consider making a donation to support our Buddhist animation project.